change a light. I think probably better this way. I don't know. Is that better, or was the other light better?
Sorry. I don't know. So I was starting the streaming, but
Yeah,
I don't know. They're both.
I think it's okay.
I mean, that's fine. I think it's absolutely fine. Right. So streaming
Yeah.
started. So that's good. We just need to wait for people to arrive. So,
Yeah.
ah,
Well, tomorrow, what I'll do, I think for before Kaddish, I'm going to read. Well, Dennis Hart, I remember he used to be, I think, the president of Ajax. He was very involved in
hmm,
Ajax, and he's done quite a lot of work in the past to find out the stories of Jewish servicemen who died in the
hmm.
war, their names, their occupations, and there's, I think, 13 of them
Okay.
who are from this area, from Herod.
Hmm.
And he very much wants us to do an Ajax service, but I can't see that really happening in the community. So I said I will read out their names on this Shabbat,
Yeah.
um, because that makes it more personal in some ways.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, the only person who could be very involved, and that might have been Edwin,
I
because he
know he
marches
goes.
with
Yeah,
Ajax each year.
yeah.
Um, but obviously not on a Shabbat because he would be
No,
busy with Mazorzi.
and I think the only time we could do a special service would be on a Sunday. So either the
Mm.
Ajax one, but then they are marching, so that's not good,
Mm.
or Remembrance Sunday. But then
Then
so
you're,
many of us are involved with Remembrance Sunday
yes.
services.
Mm.
So that makes it difficult too. So I think doing it on the Shabbat before is probably the best way.
Mm. Yeah,
So I'll think I'll bring his
yeah.
document as well, that people can have a look at it if they want to.
I was just thinking, we do like the meditation beforehand, and there's that one, is it the sun? No, was it? I can never remember the quote, but the sun will go down on them no
When the
more, and
sun
that,
go,
that's sort of
yeah,
very
we
quite
remember that.
moving as a sort of, you know, whether or not we sort of introduce that as the Devar Torah or something like that is the only thing I can think of. But
Mm.
hmm,
With the going down of the
yeah, we will
sun, and
remember. We
when it's
will
go, yeah,
remember them. Yeah, except
yeah,
with going down of the, is it going down the sun and the rising of the moon or something like that? We will remember them. That is very moving.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
hmm,
So I think I will do that just before Kaddish, and then we can just say Kaddish.
yeah,
Um, yeah, because a real service, I just, unless you have indeed people who are really invested in
yeah.
it, I think it's so much harder nowadays to do that.
Yeah, and there are so few people who, which is, I suppose, who, not involved, but who remember how things were.
Yeah, because
Hmm,
we did have members like, Dennis Goodman,
hmm.
and I
Yes.
had invited them to come and lay a wreath in the past, but
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
generation, either they're unable to or they're no longer there, which is
Yeah. Well, even I mean, my father was he would have been 8 when war was declared. Um, and I suppose when war finished, he would have only have been about 13.
yeah,
So even then, he's probably hardly able to. He's in hospital. Well, he's on his way home from
oh
hospital at the
no,
moment.
what's happened?
I don't know. He just didn't feel very well. And they basically called an ambulance and took him in to check him over. And they've they're happy with him. They're sending him home. We're just waiting. I was there this afternoon, so we're just waiting for transport to bring him back home at the moment. But there we go.
you know that hospital at the back of your hand
Do you
now.
know, I'm going up there once a week at the moment.
Oh,
It's
terrible.
crazy. I'm having weekly visits there now. Hi, Linda.
uh,
Shabbat shalom.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom.
Hello. How are
Hi.
you?
Yeah, okay. I've had some bad news this week. So,
Oh, what happened?
so my ex-husband has died.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh,
So,
I'm very sorry to hear
Yeah,
that.
he was ill, but it was like we knew it was going to be days or weeks, but we weren't expecting it quite so soon.
Oh,
So
Good. Do you want me to mention his name
yes,
before?
please.
What was his name?
So his name was Norman Pace. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my children have all gone down to where he lives or lived. So I've got my youngest granddaughter with me.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that's tough.
Mm,
Wish you a lot of strength.
thank you. Thank you.
Hello. So there's Rania, all the way from Paris.
hi, Rania.
And hello, Mike.
You're on mute, Mike,
Oh.
if you wanted to talk.
Seconds.
There you go.
Right, how are you?
We're all good. Yourself?
Good. Yeah, not bad. Yes, thank you.
Right. We've got a couple of minutes. We'll see who else joins us.
Are you a small select group?
I always work on
Very
sort of
good.
quality, not quantity.
Well said, sir. Well said.
Yes. And Rania, how is Paris?
Oh, don't mention Paris.
Oh, dear.
I don't want to hear about it any longer.
Oh dear.
No. Oh, no.
Uh, well, the country is nice. It's still nice. The beauty of the landscape, but nothing else, I'm afraid.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think politics is bad everywhere at the moment. So that's why it's good to be on Zoom in a congregation all together
Yes,
thinking of
that's great. That's all we
better
need.
things.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely. And we need Shabbat and Menucha. It's very important.
Yes.
Oh, I realize there is one of my pages missing. Here we go.
Shabbat shalom, Brigitte.
Oops, Shabbat Shalom.
Right, shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Rania.
Shabbat Shalom, Brigitte.
Right, but I think as we've reached 6:30, I'm going to put everybody on mute and then unmute Rabbi Kathleen. So, and with that, I will hand over to Rabbi Kathleen.
Thank you very much, Stefan. And well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And welcome on this very miserable, dark day. And I hope that we can create a nice, wonderful community together online and a bit of warmth together. So before we start, I'd like to start with a little meditation, just simply to bring us all together. Because I always think, even if we just pop from one room to another on Zoom, getting ready for Shabbat is, you have to get your headspace. So, a meditation. Rabbi Moses Maimonides wrote, "What then is devotion? We must free our heart from all other thoughts and regard ourselves as standing in the presence of God. Therefore, before engaging in prayer, we ought to go aside for a little in order to bring ourselves into a devotional attitude. And then we should pray quietly and with feeling, not like one who carries a weight and goes away. Then after prayer, the worshipper ought to sit quiet for a little and then depart." I think this idea of actually getting yourself into it by just quiet down a little, I think is very beautiful. And so I hope we did that by just this meditation. And so let me now put on my talit so that it feels really as if we are in a sanctuary. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר שם מצוותיו וציוונו להתעטף בציצית. And let us now really make that sanctuary together. And I feel the words of Matovu, ever since we started these Zoom services, have so much meaning as we declare, Matovu ohalecha Yaakov mishknotecha Yisrael. How good are your tents, your sanctuaries indeed, O Jacob, and your homes, each and every one of us, making that sanctuary online from our homes, O Israel. So, Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkanotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu ohalayich Leah mishkanotayich Rachel. And so as we have created this holy space together, let us create holy time. And we do so by lighting the candles. And if you have any candles near you, you want to light them at home, you're very welcome to do so with me. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So we now turn to this beautiful song, the beginning of Shabbat, Shalom Alechem, in which we welcome, well, traditionally the Shabbat angels, but it's this idea that we bring in this special atmosphere into our homes. Shalom Alechem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malachi HaMelachim, Akadosh Baruch Hu. Bo'achem Leshalom, Malachi HaShalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malachi HaMelachim, Akadosh Baruch Hu. Bachuni Leshalom, Malachi HaShalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malachi HaMelachim, Akadosh Baruch Hu. צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. And from Shalom Alechem we go to the Psalms of Kabbalat Shabbat. We only sing Psalm 96. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו, ספרו בגויים כבודו, בכל העמים נפלאותיו. כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים, כי כל אלוהי העמים אלילים, ואדוני שמיים עשה. הוד והדר לפניו, עוז ותפארת במקדשו. הבו לאדוני משפחות עמים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, שאו מנחה ובואו לחצרותיו. השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, חילו מפניו כל הארץ, אמרו בגויים אדוני מלך, אף תיכון תבל בל תימות, ידין עמים במישרים, ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, ירעם הים ומלואו, יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו, אז ירננו כל עצי יער לפני אדוני, כי בא לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק ומאמונתו. די 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 die, 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 die. And we could go on. That's nigun and nigunim, just they kind of connect to the soul. But we'll go on to Lechadodi, this wonderful song that welcomes in the Shabbat, really as if the Shabbat was a bride or a queen. לחדודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לחדודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמו וזכור בדיבורך תשמיענו, אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לחדודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נשוכה. סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לחדודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לחדודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לחדודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Now, when we come to Boi Kala, we bow. And in the old times, in the old shul, I would often, my children would be there, and I would say, well, when we turn to the door, when we bow, did you see anything? And they would say, no. But one of our members, and I always think of him, Michael Barnett, he would say, oh, but I saw a beautiful lady coming in. That was the Shabbat queen. And so I always think of that moment. Now we come to a beautiful psalm for Shabbat, Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat, Psalm 92. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בחינו, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידך רנן. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. At the bottom of the page, we sing צדיק אתה מה יפרח, כארז בלבנון, בלבנון יזכה, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו. עוד ינובון בשיבה, דשנים ורעננים יהיו, להגיד כי ישר אדוני צורי, בלא הפלטה בו. We come now to the proper part of the service. Baruch et Adonai המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בדברו מעריף ערבים, בחוכמה פותח שערים, ובתבונה משנה עתים, ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמורותיהם ברקיע כרצונו. בורא יום ולילה, גולל אור מפני חושך, וחושך מפני אור. המעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריף ערבים. אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו, ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך. ונשמח ונעלוז בדברי תורתך, ומצוותיך וחוקותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו, ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם ולילה, נגי יומם ולילה. באהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב את עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך, בכל נפשך, ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בהם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. And we continue in silence with the second and third paragraph of the Shema. You can read Hebrew or English, and after the silence we will come to Leman Tiskuru, which we'll sing together. למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. אמת ואמונה כל זאת וקיים עלינו, כי הוא אדוני אלוהינו, ואין זולתו, ואנחנו ישראל עמו. העושה גדולות עד אין חקר, ונפלאות עד אין מספר. וראו בניו גבורתו, שבחו והודו לשמו ומלכותו, ברצון קיבלו עליהם. משה ומרים ובני ישראל, לך ענו שירה בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדע בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מלכותך אדוני אלוהינו, ראו בניך על הים. יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. And well, unfortunately, we can't read together, but I invite you to read with me in English. Source of our life and our sovereign, cause us to lie down in peace and rise again to enjoy life. Spread over us the covering of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel and save us for the sake of your name. Be a shield about us, turning away every enemy, disease, violence, hunger, and sorrow. Remove the temptation that awaits us and the guilt that lies behind us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you are a God who guards and protects us, a ruler of mercy and compassion. Guard us when we go out and when we come in, to enjoy life and peace, both now and forever, and spread over us the shelter of your peace. Blessed are you, God, spreading the shelter of peace over us, over your people Israel, and over all the world. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. And now we come to the Amidah, the standing prayer. אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואלוהי אמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי יצחק, אלוהי רבקה, ואלוהי יעקב, ואלוהי רחל, ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, קונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גואל לפני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, פוקד שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע, משיף הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמנת לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. You made the seventh day holy to your name as the end of the creation of heaven and earth. You blessed it above all other days and made it holier above all other times. And so it is written in your Torah, ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, רצנה במנוחתנו, קדשנו במצוותיך, שים חלקנו בתורתך, סבנו מטובך, שמח נפשנו בישועתך, וטהר ליבנו לעובדך באמת. והנחילנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה וברצון שבת קודשך, וינוחו בה כל ישראל מקדשי שמך. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. רצה אדוני אלוהינו בעמך ישראל, ולתפילתם ולתפילתם וברחמך רבים תחפוץ בנו, ותשרה שכינתך על ציון. ותחזינה עינינו בשובך לציון ברחמים. ברוך אתה אדוני המחזיר שכינתו לציון, לציון. מודים אנחנו לך שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו לעולם ועד. צורנו, צור חיינו ומגן ישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. נודה לך, נספר את תהילתך, על חיינו המסורים בידיך, ועל נשמותינו הפקודות לך. ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל נפלאותיך וצובותיך, שבכל עת, ערב ובוקר וצהריים. הטוב כי לא חלו רחמך, המרחם כי לא תמו חסדיך, כי מעולם קיווינו לך. ועל כולם יתברך ויתרומם ויתנשא, תמיד שמך מלכנו לעולם ועד. וכל החיים יודוך סלה, והללו ויברכו את שמך הגדול באמת, האל ישועתנו ועזרתנו סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך ולך נאה להודות. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. בטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. ברוך אתה אדוני, המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. And we take this moment to read the meditation in silence, and then we will all join in. Even if I can't hear you, I can see you joining in when we sing or say shalom. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל העולם. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל העולם. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל העולם. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל העולם. Now, this Shabbat is a special Shabbat. Every Shabbat is a special Shabbat. But this Shabbat particularly, I think, because this just happens to be the Shabbat before Remembrance Sunday, and Remembrance Sunday happens to fall on the commemoration of Kristallnacht. So there's so many commemorations we are remembering. And it just so always happens somehow that whatever happens in the world connects somehow to our portion. And our parasha is a very special one. There are so many important parts there that speak to us today and hold so much in our Jewish memory, indeed. Because this parasha, Vayera, is parasha in which we encounter Abraham really as this moral voice that stands up even against God when he disagrees with God having the plan to destroy Sodom and Amorah. And he says, but surely you can't destroy both cities completely. Surely there will be good people there. You can't destroy those good people with the bad ones. And a lot of that, of course, resonates with us, with the whole idea of collateral damage during war and innocents dying, and it's very painful. But Avraham is this huge beacon of moral voice, of he is the first Jew and he shows what it is to be a Jew, because we find him standing up against God. But whilst he's doing that, he also, we find he just opens up his stand to invite visitors, because he gets 3 visitors who come into his stand and he rushes out to get them in, to look after them, to feed them, and he does everything by himself. And what we find the rabbis say is what really interesting is, why is he sitting outside his tent in, the heat of the day? Well, the rabbis say it's because he's actually sitting there to wait for passers-by, to be hospitable, which you are in a land like where he was. But it's not just that. The rabbis also say, why is he sitting there? He's sitting there because he's actually not feeling so well. Why is he not feeling so well? Because in the previous parasha, we ended the maftir of last week's parasha. We left Avraham just recovering from his Brit Milah. And remember, he was an old man when this happened. So the rabbis put 2 and 2 together and said, well, he's recovering. So he's unwell. Why does God come and visit Avram? Because Avram is unwell. And that is, from that we can learn the mitzvah of Bikur Cholim, that you have to come and visit people who are ill. But from Avraham, we can learn the mitzvah of hachnasat orachim, bringing in visitors and guests, because even though he wasn't well, he still brings in these visitors. Visitors who we are told are messengers, they are malachim, they are angels. But Avraham doesn't see them like that. Is that because he's blind to what they really are? No, because to him, everyone is just a human being in front of him who he needs to serve. And so he serves them as proper guests. And they tell him two messages. One of them is that Sarah will have a child, and the second one is that he will that God is going to destroy indeed Sodom and Gomorrah. We had Avram standing up against God and said, you can't do that, and it is still going to happen. And then these men go to Sodom and Gomorrah to get Lot out of there. That's a really horrific story, followed by another horrific story, because after that we have the story of the birth of Isaac and the sending away of Ishmael, and then we have the binding of Isaac. So there is so much in this one sidra that we could talk about for a very long time, but I promise you I won't. But what we encounter is the story in Sodom and Gomorrah, where the three angels go to Lot. Lot invites them. The people in Sodom and Gomorrah behave horrifically, and therefore we realize from the story that God was right to want to destroy those cities. And the angels tell them, you have to leave this city quickly and don't look back. And of course, we know the story that Lot's wife cannot help but look back. She looks back and turns in a pillar of salt. Now, that is a really difficult story in a way, because is that a punishment? Of course, she did not what she was told to do, but isn't it a very human thing to do, to look back, particularly when you are taken out of such a volatile, pivotal moment in your life? You leave your house and your city, and the whole city is just destroyed, and the events leading up to it. It's very normal to want to look back. And I think particularly on this Shabbat, where we are leading into Remembrance Sunday, the remembering of Kristallnacht and things that have happened in our past, we do look back all the time. And within our tradition, looking back and remembering is so important for us, because if you think about it, we are looking back all the time. Just by reading the Torah, we're telling a story that looks back for thousands of years, but we live that story every single year. And when we celebrate Pesach, we even say, B'chol dor vador, in every single generation, we should feel ourselves like we ourselves went out of Egypt. So we continuously look back. And so what happened to Lot's wife? There's many different attempts to try and understand it and explain it. One very beautiful one, actually a colleague of mine wrote something about and said, well, she became a pillar of salt, and said, well, what does a pillar mean? A pillar is very often a token that we turn to look back to, but also to look towards the future. And indeed, if we if any of us are involved in going to Remembrance Sunday, I will be involved in Harrow. I know that the chairman of Mosaic, the whole of Mosaic Jewish community, he will go to Stanmore, and we all represent our community, because it's so important to remember. But where do we do it? We all of these memorials are very often a kind of a pillar It is the cenotaph is like a pillar. It is something to look back to, but also to look forward from, to look forward to a better future, because it is so important to look back and to remember and to retell stories, because if we do not do that, we cannot learn from the past. But it is such a fine balance that we don't turn into a pillar of salt. And when we think of salt, we think of tears, because you can also stay in the past and be completely consumed by the past and the pain that it sometimes represents. But it's not to be like that and like the wife of Lot, but actually to look forward to the future from everything that we carry from the past. So I'm sure that all of us will be remembering in some way or another these big events that happened in the past. And before we started the service, Stefan and I were just talking about it, that even, the elders in our communities, they were children when the war happened, when the Shoah was there as well. So it's really now up to us to keep on telling these stories and keep them remembering going. And so it's not just a mitzvah to do it, but also to hand it over to the next generation. So we turn now to Aleinu, which really looks forward to the future, a better future. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים, ונתן לנו את תורתו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, עמד מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, ידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. Therefore, Almighty God, we put our hope in you. Soon let us witness the glory of your power, when the worship of material things shall pass away from the earth, and prejudice and superstition shall at last be cut off. When the world will be set right by the rule of God, and all humanity shall speak out in your name, and all the wicked of the earth shall turn to you, then all who inhabit this world shall meet in understanding and shall know that we are all partners in the repairing of your world. For yours alone is the true kingdom, and only the glory of your rule endures forever. So it is written in your Torah, the Eternal shall rule forever and ever. So it is prophesied, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. The souls of the righteous are in the hands of God, and no harm shall come to them. God, source of compassion, you give life, in which joys and sorrows are mingled, and send death with its promise of eternal peace. We mourn this week the death of Norman Pace, ex-husband of Linda Pace, and I wish you long life. and many good memories. And of Ursula Warner, mother of John Warner, Jennifer Carter, and Alison Warner. May it comfort their families and all who mourn for them. May God, who is full of compassion, whose presence is over us, cover them in the shelter of your wings forever, and bind their souls into the gathering of life. We remember at this time all those who once shared with us the joys and challenges of life, but who are with us no longer. May their souls shine like the brightness of the heavens. We thank you for all you gave them during their lives. We think especially of those who died at this time in years past. Jonathan Baum, husband of Linda Baum and brother of Jennifer Gridley. Simon Allen Curtis, father of Rosalind Bott. Jack Fryman, father of Francis Spiegel and grandfather of Sarah Spiegel. Walter Gordon, father of Mandy Leach. John Landau, husband of Maria Landau, and Doris Raven, mother of Brian Raven. And in Mosaic Reform, we remember Anne Schindler, grandmother of Helena Issacharoff, David Cohen, brother of Lillian Levine, David Hakim, father of Renee Sharma, Diana Shears, mother of Davina Murphy, Dorothy Rauch, wife of David Rauch, Alice Swan, father of Lydia Saphir, Gerald Collin, father of Judy Armitt, Harry Bloom, father of Maureen Sclair, Hattie Pierce, grandmother of Rochelle Latham, Irene Stellman, mother of Brian Confiser, Jessie Phillips, mother of Brenda Joyce, Lily Turner, mother of Paul Turner, Lionel Harris, father of Loretta Collette, Louis Alpert, father of Ziki Alpert, Max Bernblum, father of Karen Pollack, Renee and Ronald Berger, parents of Howard Berger, and Sharon Roberta Watts, sister of Barbara G. Zichronam Livracha. May the memory of their love and guidance be a source of enduring blessing. In loving memory, we sanctify your name, as we say all together, Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, B'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, בחיי חון וביומי חון, וחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי די קודשה בריחו. לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה די אמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל העולם ואמרו אמן.
Shabbat Shalom, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to first of all to thank Rabbi Kathleen for leading the service tonight, and I would reiterate what Kathleen said. Linda, we wish you long life and many happy memories. A couple of things to bring to your attention. The rabbi mentioned the Remembrance Sunday wreath layings. Rabbi Kathleen will be representing Mosaic Jewish community at the civic ceremony at the Harrow War Memorial in the town centre, and David Liebling will be laying a wreath at the Stanmore War Memorial at the top of Church Lane. So if you'd like to go along to either of those, details are in the newsletter, please feel free to go along there Sunday. I think that's 11 o'clock. That'll be the ceremony. Um, Tomorrow morning, Reform service starts at 10:30. Liberal service starts at 10:45, led by Rabbi Daisy. And a reminder that next Friday is Shabbat Beitenu, so the service next Friday will be coming from the synagogue as well as on Zoom as well. And I think that's really, I'll leave you to read all the other things in the newsletter and on the website. And with that, hand back to the rabbi for either Adon Olam or Yigdal.
Well, I would like to hand it to the congregation whether you'd like Adon Olam or Yigdal. So if it's Adon Olam, just put your hand up. And no hands up for, well, then it will be Yigdal. So Yigdal it is. יגדל אלוהים חי וישתבח, נמצא ונטל מציאותו, אחד ואין יחיד כייחודו, נעלם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו, לאחדותו. אין לו דמות הגוף ואינו גוף, לא נערוך אליו קדושתו, קטמון לכל דבר אשר נברא, ראשון ואין ראשית לראשיתו, לראשיתו. הינו אדון עולם לכל נוצר, יורה גדולתו ומלכותו, שפע נבואתו נתנו, אל אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו, ותפארתו. לא קם בישראל כמו שעוד נביא, ומביט אל תמונתו, תורת אמת נתן לעמו אל, על יד נביאו נאמן ביתו, נאמן ביתו. לא יחליף האל ולא ימיר דתו, לעולמים לזולתו, צופה ויודע סתרנו, מביט לסוף דבר בקדמותו, בקדמותו. גומל לאיש חסיד כמפעלו, נותן לרשע רע כרשעתו, ישלח לקץ שמים משיחנו, לפדות מחכה קץ ישועתו, ישועתו. מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך עדי עד שם תהילתו. מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך עדי עד שם תהילתו, שם תהילתו. We come to the final blessing. יברכנו אדוני וישמרנו, יאיר אדוני פניו אלינו ויחוננו, יישא אדוני פניו אלינו וישם לנו shalom. May God bless us and keep us. May God's face shine upon us and be gracious to us. May God's face turn towards us and give us and the whole world peace. And I wish you Shabbat Shalom. And now, if you have your Kiddush cup and wine with you and some challah, then I invite you to make Kiddush with me. So, here we go. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו, בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש. זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים. ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו, ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. לחיים. If you have a challah, and I'm so very sorry that we haven't managed yet the technology to hand over challah to each other, because this is a huge one. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
There we go. Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Thank you very much for this nice service, Rabbi Kathleen.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
Linda, I wish you long life, Linda.
Thank you.
Yes, wish you long life.
Thank
a lot
you.
of strength over the
Thank
coming
you.
weeks.
Mm.
And well, thank you all for making this Shabbat so enjoyable too, because it's just always lovely to see you. And there's something special about Zoom, because we're very much panim el panim, face to face, and I think it's always very beautiful. So thank you. And Shabbat shalom.
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 Shabbat shalom.
Thank you.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. And as usual, have a safe journey
Stefan.
home, and we'll see you all again soon. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat